And for going hollow, I tell you, the ToroTamer Super Braid is some sweet stuff to work with. This is our new 130 pound, the new blue 12 strand. The 12 strand is quite indeed workable stuff. So here's some 12 strand. The 12 strand compared to a 16 strand, frankly, it's a little less expensive to produce, and it's not as easy to work with, but it's still quite workable stuff. Quite workable, especially if you take heed and do a couple of little tricks of the trade, which I'll try and show you. First, let's take a little file to the leader. Now, some folks on the heavy stuff, they'll go ahead and rough it up quite a bit, just thinking that's going to give you a little more grip once you're inside the braid. Here's one of the greatest tricks of the trade you'll ever see. Yes, indeed. They're called cheaters. And when you get my age, or perhaps a little bit younger, they help a heck of a lot when you're working with this stuff. I got to tell you, working with that 20 and 30 pound, you definitely have to have the eyes of a teenager, to really work with it. And let's see what needle we're going to use here. Oh, that's easy enough. That's easy too. Shucks, these are all pretty doggone easy. We'll take this one. What size is it? It's big enough. And I can see my way into it without using glasses, and that's even better. Okay, needle goes in. Glasses go on. And having done that, what you want to do is just tease it. Okay? Tease the braid, that end a little bit. And by doing that, makes it easier to get your needle started. And once you get the thing started, sure enough, up she goes. And that's, I said the 12 strand's a little more difficult to work with than is the 16. It's a fact. And as you work down in test, if you're getting down there in the, 60 pound, 50 pound, certainly you take a little more time doing it. But when we say ToroTamer produces the best braid in the business and represents the new standard in hollow core lines, not blowing smoke. That's exactly what this stuff is. It's darn good stuff, easy to work with, darn simple to work with. I pulled this off of a bulk spool, started going through. You'll notice this is a colored line, unlike some manufacturers' products out there, and I'm not going to name names, but the initials might be JB. You come up against clumps of paint, which make the stuff darn near impossible to work with. That's not the case with this stuff. Our coloring process is different. We have a better braid. Time does move on, and I'll be darned, stuff improves. And that's exactly what we've got here, is an improved product. It's 12 strand, and it opens up very well. Again, our 16 strand is a heck of a lot easier. Now, when there's pressure, this ain't moving. When that line is taut, it's not going anywhere. When it's loose, you can move it. So you need to do something here. And that's one of the reasons why I brought you. You can do a Sato crimp, you can do a served connection. A Sato crimp is this. This is a Sato crimp, a little piece of metal. Works quite well. This is a served connection. Takes a lot of time. Instead, we're going to do something else. We'll give it a nail knot. And frankly, a couple of nail knots will flat out get the job done just fine. Now, let's see here. Let's use a little fatter line than I normally would for this. Now, this is 50 pound. Typically, I'm using 20 and 30 pound for my nails. Which there are tools for this that work just fine on the fly tying side. These are a couple of tools that are used by the guys who work with flies. They work just fine on the light stuff, not for the heavy stuff. So I made my own little tool, which basically just it gives me a recessed area with a little pointy end here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is hold both lines down. Catch her here. I could have made this thing, my tool, a little bit longer, but it's going to get the job done. If I keep everything out of my way, it'll work even better. Okay. And I'll go once, twice, 3 times, lady. No. Okay, that's 5 times through. Now I'll bring this line on through, right through the hole. There she goes. And I'll give her a quick snap. Give her a pull. That's a nail knot. That's one done. Typically, what you want to do is be redundant. Give it 3 nail knots. And add some of your adhesive. Or even better yet, add our adhesive, which has some elastic properties to it, and deals better with water. And if you do that, this ain't going anywhere. And under pressure, it's going to hold very taut, and that's what you want. So let's do one more. Again, it's not the neatest one I've ever done, but it ain't that bad, and it will work. Hold down your lines. Make yourself a little tool like this. I used an old rod blank that my 5-year-old laid waste to, and it didn't. Even though the rod was broken, it still lived on. And so does the whole 5-year-old. Bless his heart. Okay, I've made my 5 turns through the tool. I'm bringing the line back through. It's coming out somewhere, but I can't quite see it. There we go. Thank goodness for glasses. And I've got it started, and I'll give it, making sure I'm holding on here, give it a quick pull. I've got that sucker on, pull her tight, and she's very tight. Knock off my tags. And sure enough, heavenly days, we have a connection. That's it. Now, what's cleaner? Doing this or tying a knot? No doubt this is. There's no tagging to worry about, no nothing. And it doesn't take a heck of a lot of time to do it. A couple of nail knots, 3 nail knots, and your adhesive, and you have a darn good connection. Now, there's another way of doing this where we actually put a nail knot on the leader, and then that goes inside, and then we lay down 3 nail knots behind that little nub knot. That locks it. That's an even better way to do things. And if I was going after a 200+ pound tuna, that's exactly what I would do. But if I were not, this is all I'm going to do. And frankly, this is going to work just fine, because as long as you're pulling on this line, she ain't going anywhere. The problem comes when you have pressure release, and then you can have slippage where it's loose. When you're taut, Chinese finger trap is going to work. When you are not taut, that's when you're going to lose it. So that's a nail knot, quick and easy to tie onto your braid. Cosmetically, we can be a lot cleaner than that. As I demonstrated, this 12 strand opens up beautifully. The 16 strand opens up that much better. And if you're not using a hollow core and you're using a solid product, so be it. Go ahead and give it, that little RP or Royal Polaris knot, and be done. If you want to be doing things a little bit better, and no doubt it's a better connection, take the time and do your Bimini to Albright, 30 turns each way. That's a better connection. But you don't have to go that route when you're in a pinch and when you're fishing lighter lines. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.